Welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I'm your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And we're outside on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Jersey, having some cigars on my break from my job as we're getting ready to talk about some stupid-ass shit.
I like that you have to say that you're on your break, just in case anyone from work is listening. It's a Wednesday, and I am technically working or
It's
on
a
break.
Friday. Oh, bud. That look of defeat. Yeah, it's Friday, pal.
Okay. Well, fuck.
That's okay. That's okay. So today, for our Monday episode, we are going to be talking about if MLB teams were bands, what band would best describe that MLB team? As this came up out of a random-ass text message I sent Corwin a few days ago, where I decided that the San Diego Padres were the smash mouth of baseball, and I guess we'll get into that in a second.
They're pretty fucking fitting.
I thought so. Before we get rolling too much, here is an ad from our friends over at Sports Trebuchet.
Do you like to talk about sports?
Do you like podcasts?
Do you like talking about professional wrestling?
Do you like medieval weaponry?
Then check us out at Sports Trebuchet on Twitter or listen to us, Sports Trebuchet on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or anywhere you listen.
All right, let's get into this bullshit. Do you want to start or do you want me to?
You can start. You can start. This is your baby.
All right, let's go division by division, and then we can just compare who we picked.
Okay.
So for the AL East, because we always start there, why change that up? I picked the Yankees as being the Beatles.
Very fitting.
Well, it's all coming from a Yankee fan is going to sound bad, but changed the game. They were like the best of all time, going strictly based on win percentage and championships. As were the Beatles, or at least arguably the greatest of all time. It's tough to have a concise answer with music being so subjective, but yeah, I mean.
I feel like
everyone's famous. Everyone that went off was also famous, Everyone knows the Beatles. Everyone knows some of those core Yankees, key Yankees.
Exactly. I feel like when you think about music in just the most general sense, the first music group anyone, would typically think of is the Beatles, and it's the same way for baseball. It's the Beatles are, in fact, the Yankees of music, and
Vice
the
versa.
Yankees are
Yeah.
the Beatles of baseball.
So it brings me to the Orioles. I was stuck on them for a while.
I wasn't.
Oh, you had one? I can't wait to see yours.
Orioles were the first team I came up with.
I picked Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. They've had some hits. They've always been around. After some core pieces left, they were bad. And then John Fogerty kind of came back. So they've been kind of like, no one dislikes CCR. I don't think anyone's like really up on CCR, but they're there.
As someone whose favorite band is Creedence Clearwater
That's
Revival.
your favorite band?
It's my favorite band.
That's sad.
Well, fuck you. And also, I'm
Not
insulted.
a very fortunate son.
Yeah. I'm insulted that you would think the Orioles are just up to par for what CCR would demand.
I think they're up to par. They've won a few championships. They've had good seasons. They've had bad seasons. They are a baseball team. They are a very that's a team that's had success and had failures, and that's CCR.
You're right. That's exactly how I would describe the Orioles. They are, in fact, by definition, a baseball team.
I'm gonna finish with the Red Sox. So for the Rays, I wanted to go with some kind of generic ass indie rock band, low budget, just kind of trying to figure it out. They're trying out some funky stuff. So I ended up picking Death Cab for Cutie, also because the Rays have also had success a couple times, and Death Cab did for a while there, with some of their more mainstream stuff.
I've never heard of them.
I Will Follow You Into the Dark is that's the most famous song.
I'd have to hear it.
Yeah, they're I feel like they kind of stopped being a thing. Maybe the Decemberists would be they stopped being a thing too. An indie rock band is what I was trying to get at.
Fair enough.
The Blue Jays, I wanted to pick a band that was Canadian and also fit them, so I went with Rush, Canadian rock band. I really don't have anything else to tie them to the Blue Jays other than the fact that they're Canadian. But hey, Rush had some hits. Blue Jays had some hits. Yeah.
we had identical thought processes.
Did you pick Rush
I
as
picked
well?
Rush as well
Oh, there
because
it
they are
is.
just the greatest Canadian band ever, and it's a Canadian baseball team.
Exactly, the only one left. For the Red Sox, I had initially wanted to try to find some like really shitty punk band no one liked because I felt like that would fit the motif. I ended up going with Guns N' Roses because like Guns N' Roses had like a couple of hits all grouped together there that one time, and I feel like everyone hates them. Like everyone hates Axl Rose. Everyone likes Slash, and I feel like that's like Mookie Betts there. You know what I mean? Like the Red Sox have always had like a player who was likable. That one guy that stood out. Like no one hated Yastrzemski, no one hated Williams, no one hates Betts. If you're a fan of a rival team, you don't like them because they're good. But like that's Slash, whereas the rest of the band is like, oh wow, fuck that band's entire existence.
Guns N' Roses is one of my favorite bands because of their hits. Again, Slash is an utter human piece of garbage.
You don't like Slash?
Not Slash.
Axl Rose?
Axl Rose, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Slash is the man.
Slash is awesome.
Axl Rose is a piece of human garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, I love their music, but from your perspective, I could see why you picked this.
Yeah, I wasn't. All right, let's go over to your tab. Why don't you
Okay.
walk me through your thought process here?
All right, so
I'm already deeply offended by how you chose this, and it says to me that you did not grow up on the East Coast and don't know hip hop.
So I wanted to do a lot more rap because that's what I listen to. But if I stuck with the cities that all of these rappers came from, I would have like 5 teams picked and that's it. So I couldn't stick with, just where they're
But
from,
still,
where
this
they went
is
up.
so insulting, my friend.
I don't give a shit. Fuck off. So with the Yankees, I went Tupac. The GOAT, the greatest of all time.
Oh my God! Fuck off.
It's Tupac. He's not my favorite.
He's not even the GOAT though.
Who's the GOAT?
If I had to go more objectively, I'd say Biggie. If I had to go more personally, I'd say Q-Tip.
Okay. I personally like Biggie better, but I feel like the consensus with all of the people I share my rap love with prefer Tupac.
Let me guess, the
And
bunch
as
of
a
white
man-
boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I fucking knew it. Yeah,
As
that's
a
right.
man
Get
of
out
the
here
people-
Get out of there with this shit.
Josh, what color's your skin?
I'm a white man.
You're a white boy as well.
I know, but I have friends.
I am a white boy supreme. Oh, okay. That one stung a little bit. That took me a minute to even. Wow. All right.
Notice I didn't say black friends. Just friends.
So the reason I originally didn't have it. I had the Beatles for the Yankees, and I had the Rolling Stones for the Red Sox. I wanted to go.
I had the same thought actually. I
Yeah.
legit had the same thought. Yeah.
But I wanted to stick with more of the rap theme, and I didn't really have anywhere else to put Biggie and Tupac. So I decided to have them.
Now I see where
and
you
their
went with this.
rivalry,
Okay.
as there being the Yankees versus the Red Sox.
I can appreciate this more
Okay.
now.
Just you gotta let me explain.
I still
Josh.
do not fucking like it.
I don't care, but at the same time, there was that thought process there. So
Because
Tupac and
I
Biggie,
would
Yankees,
say-
Red Sox.
I would say maybe Yankees and like either Giants or Yankees Dodgers for that comp because both of those teams are more successful historically than the Red Sox.
I had a much.
You feel me?
I
Though?
had another group for the Dodgers and for the Giants that I wanted to stick with more, which is why I kind of shied away from that. I'm gonna
Right.
put that away. So that's what I went with. For the Orioles, this was the first band that I chose for a team, and I chose Nickelback. Because, sure, if you're a Nickelback fan, they're great. They've had some good hits.
If
But for
you're
the
a
rest of us,
Nickelback,
if you like
something no one's ever said.
Nickelback, there's something wrong. Orioles have nothing going for them. Nickelback doesn't really have anything going for them either. So I thought that was wildly fitting.
Like a placeholder band. in, like,
Exactly.
08 or some
And just
shit.
like the
Yeah.
Orioles are a placeholder team. For the Rays, I went with Daft Punk, kind of with the same
I feel
style
it. Yeah.
you went.
No, I feel it immediately.
Just always trying something different, always on the leading edge of, techno, of music, of style, stuff like that. And then Blue Jays, I went with Rush because
Right.
Canada.
All right, why don't we just trade back and forth so we don't have to keep switching up the tabs?
Yeah, sure thing.
Do you want to do the NL East next or the AL Central next?
Let's do the NL East
All right,
just to
shoot.
keep it easier.
You picked the Beastie Boys. I picked the Beastie
yeah.
Boys for one of my groups too. But I forget who
Nice.
they choose them for. So tell me about your band.
So for the New York Mets, I went with the Beastie Boys. I feel
Very
like
fitting.
that was one of the bands I just had to stick with the home roots for. It there's no better connection. The Mets are the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys are the Mets. It's just the way it is forever and always. For the Phillies and the Nationals, I had to go with one of the bigger beefs in rap, Not Tupac, Ja Rule and 50 Cent. Famous beef between the two of them where 50 Cent just straight up didn't like the Phillies, and that was fine. Ja Rule's actually from Philadelphia, so I kind of had to go with those roots there. I was going to give 50 to the Phillies just because he had longer history, more success, all that. But I switched it around just to keep the home roots there if I could. Phillies-Nationals rivalry, especially this year, is fiery. So I wanted to stick with that. For the Braves, I went with the Wu-Tang Clan. Always seem to have some success, but at the end of the day, their legacy could be destroyed by their own hatred of themselves and infighting. With kind of how Wu-Tang went down, the Braves' ownership and management recently hasn't been great, but they've always had that success. You know, Wu-Tang forever, cash rules everything around me, represent. And for the Marlins...
The whitest sentence ever
of course.
said.
For the Marlins, I feel like it was only appropriate to give them the greatest rapper in the history of Miami, Flo Rida.
I like these picks.
2 hits out of nowhere, just like the Marlins' 2 World Series victories. Flo Rida's not a good rapper. The Marlins aren't a good baseball franchise.
Flo Rida's name is barely a name.
It's pretty much just a man.
It's the minimum requirement.
Yeah, it's like he had a Word document with all 50 states on there and then accidentally clicked and smashed a space, and that's just what he decided his name would be. So
I will say 2 things about Wu-Tang, because I love Wu-Tang. Is that one, it's required listening to listen to the intro to Method Man's song, Method Man.
METHOD, man.
Did you just inhale a cigar? A little bit. That looked bad.
I haven't smoked a cigar in a long time.
Also, just as a brief aside for rap historians out there, they were formed as a collective to sell records and to get famous, and that's why they disbanded. Yeah, like they were like all independent rappers, like in the same area that would go to the same like underground clubs and shit, and then they got together because they were like, I bet we could get more famous if we did it together, and then they all split up, which is why they all have like, you know, their solo careers and everything, and we're all real big. And then they used to decide who would get verses, they would have rap battles to decide who got verses, which is why Method Man got his own whole ass song. Fucking love Method Man. I have the Method Man LP, Meth Lab. I have it as a vinyl. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, I love it.
I just was reading into them, trying to find like the perfect place for them, and God, they're so great. I love them. That's all I have to say.
I agree. So for the Mets, I picked Drake Bell.
Why?
So this is like some shit.
Yes, it is some shit.
So I don't know if anyone knows. I only found out about this about like a year or 2 ago. Is that apparently when Justin Bieber was getting real big, Drake Bell like lost his mind and was like felt like he had beef with Justin Bieber because Bieber took his turf. I just found out about this. This happened like almost a decade ago now. Yeah, he thought like Justin Bieber was coming for his shit, so he would like throw mad shit at Justin Bieber.
Drake Bell thought he had turf?
Drake Bell thought he had turf to even beef over. And so I've always thought, like, so my rationale here is that the Mets are the Drake Bell to the Yankees Justin Bieber.
I think I appreciate this more that you acknowledge that the Yankees are Justin Bieber.
We could have made the Rays Justin Bieber, or the Blue Jays Justin Bieber, since he is from Canada. And that was the only requirement.
The Blue Jays aren't that bad of a franchise to deserve Justin Bieber.
For the Phillies, I went with Iggy Pop. He's got some bangers out there. You know, the World Series that the Phillies have won are some solid seasons, but they're also Iggy Pop's also known for his outlandish antics, which include like breaking glass on stage and then rolling around in it, never wearing a shirt, and being an all-around raucous dude. And that seemed to describe the Phillies pretty well.
So when you first said Iggy, I instinctively just thought you were going with like Iggy Azalea.
Oh, fuck that shit.
And I was very concerned with where this was headed. But
yeah, no, Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop, by the way, is awesome. I Want to Be Your Dog was a fucking banger. You know, Iggy's got some good songs there. Passenger. The Braves, I went with the Rolling Stones. They were always kind of secondary to the Beatles, always a little bit late, and I feel like that describes the Braves, especially in the 90s, particularly well. Great teams in of their own right, and Rolling Stones, great band in of their own right. And they definitely didn't roll with the same crowds.
No.
Which also fits because Braves are NL, the Yankees AL. But
That works.
Yeah, figure that would be a decent.
Yeah,
comp.
I think that's pretty fitting.
So the last two, the Marlins, I picked Frank Zappa.
Okay.
Because I don't think they know what they're doing, and yet somehow they found some success there. And that's Zappa pretty much right there. Although Zappa knew what he was doing, it was just really fucking out there.
That's fucking
and then
funny.
the Nationals, I picked Captain Beefheart, who was just as out there as Frank Zappa, but with not nearly the same level of success. Which I think describes Captain Beefheart.
Oh my god.
Well, also. Or
That's
the
fucking
Nationals
great.
also. Yeah. So those are my picks. Yeah.
This might be my favorite episode that we'll ever do.
Let's jump over to the AL Central. So for the Indians, I had a really hard time with the Indians. I ended up picking Al Jolson.
Don't know who that is.
He is the man who played the lead in The Jazz Singer, the first talking picture in 1927,
Okay.
which is famous for using a lot of blackface.
Okay.
So while Al Jolson was liked at his time, he's been looked back upon rather sketchily due to a lot of racially insensitive stuff, as I think that describes Chief Wahoo pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can't disagree with you at all.
I know. The Twins, I had a hard time with this. Well, I had a hard time with most of this division, for being perfectly honest here. But the Twins, I went with the band.
More Canadians?
No, the band isn't Canadian.
It's Canadian.
They are?
Yeah, because when I was looking up Canadian bands for Rush, or for the Blue Jays, the band was on there.
Oh, I had no idea. But anyway, I went with the Twins because the band's great. No, the band's good. I like the band. It's hard to dislike the band. This is basically my CCR conversation all over again. No one hates the band. They're good. They're a good band, and the Twins are a team that have been good.
They're very good this year.
Yeah, this year. The White Sox went with Bob Dylan because they're like a real OG team that don't get like too much credit. And I think Bob Dylan's like an OG guy who doesn't get too much credit outside of like the folk music scene, even though I think he did a lot for like musicians and literature since he won the Nobel Prize. And like I think it's the White Sox, underappreciated while being an all-time great.
Yeah.
Tigers went with Tom Waits because the Tigers are confusing and sometimes really good, and that's Tom Waits. There's a lot of sound going on there, and somehow it all works out every now and then. So yeah, Tom Waits. And the Royals went with P-Funk because the Royals, whether they're bad or good, they're usually a good time. Like the Royals are ever rarely like bad and not fun to watch. Like this year, they're bad and they're fun to watch. Same thing with last year. So, and P-Funk, whether you like the music, you just like the jam,
Yeah.
P-Funk's there for you. So I went.
I'm with it.
I went with
I'm
P-Funk.
absolutely with it.
All right, Corwin, lay me on it with your hits.
So the Indians, as a trying to be an Indians fan, I went with Jimi Hendrix because if anyone has seen the movie Major League, Wild Thing is the theme song to that movie, and specifically Ricky Vaughn, and I thought there's no better way to rock out to the Indians than with some Jimi Hendrix experience singing the Wild Thing.
Wild Thing isn't a Jimi Hendrix original, though.
It wasn't an original, but he famously made the cover for it, and it really wasn't a famous song before that.
Yeah, it was. Why do you think he covered it?
Because he's good at what he does. I mean, I have both versions. I don't think the original stands up to the Jimi Hendrix one at all.
No, but you said it wasn't a big hit at the time. It was.
All right.
You
Well,
lied.
I wasn't around in the fucking 80s and 90s, so fuck you.
Oh, so first off, that song came out in
the
60s.
Fuck it. All right, whatever.
Hendrix died before the 70s.
But Major League
You don't
came
know
out.
anything. Please continue.
With my entire history of not being able to speak and put together sentences, this is what you stand on your hill on?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Moving on. The Twins, I went with the Twins because I don't care about the Twins, and the Twins is literally a band of two people that are twins, and I
never
thought that
heard of
was
that.
really funny.
I'm willing to accept this because I didn't have anything for them either. So, yeah.
It's
sounds
just
good.
funny. They're the Twins.
Sure.
For the White Sox, I went with R. Kelly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a bold
so
one.
a team that has done some really good stuff in their past, but kind of really tarnished their history with some serious scandals. One
What was
with
the White Sox scandals?
the cheating scandal in the World Series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then R. Kelly not quite the same, but pissing on little girls equally tarnished their reputation, I think. One has kind of outlasted the other significantly, but...
Plus, R. Kelly had those 11 new charges against him.
Yeah, that was fun. I really wanted to find an artist that really fucked themselves over, and I was struggling, and then Remix to Ignition came on my phone, and I was like, I found the perfect answer to this. The Tigers, I went with Proof.
Never heard of them.
He was essentially Eminem's best friend and co-artist who did a couple songs with him, and then died, much like the Tigers team.
Okay.
Yeah, so I thought that fit well. And the Royals, I went with Lord.
Ooh, why?
Because they'll never be Royal again. They won their World Series. They're not going back for a long time. And, Randy Marsh as Lord is, I think, a perfect representation of what the Royals are as a franchise.
Damn, that was cold. All right,
Yeah.
I can dig. All right, give me the NL Central.
NL Central, the Cubs. I did this with another, this was a beef. So the Cubs, I have as Jay-Z. Had some success very early on, and then kind of died out until he made a match with a very great other person that brought his career to the next level. So in this analogy, Theo Epstein is Beyonce. Because
I guess in this
God, that's
analogy,
wonderful.
the Cubs also look up to the Red Sox, which also fits the Epstein analogy.
Yeah, I guess.
Because
Jay-Z
Jay-Z was...
definitely, came after Biggie, and he was
We always
definitely
shouted
a
out
big
Biggie
role
in the
model.
beginning of the songs, yeah.
Which was awesome.
Did you have P. Diddy down here anywhere? Because that would fit. That would fit so perfectly, wouldn't it?
I couldn't find a good place for P. Diddy.
Maybe the White Sox could have been P. Diddy, because they're like, but the
P.
Cubs came
girls,
first.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going with that. Anyway,
All right, fair
continue.
enough. I also had the Brewers as Nas, who famously...
Nasty Nas.
Yeah. Had a huge beef with Jay-Z. I know the Brewers-Cubs rivalry is relatively extremely new comparative to the Cubs franchise, but...
Especially since the Brewers only switched leagues in...
97?
80?
No, it was in the
like
90s.
89.
It was the late 90s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, because Robin Yount won AL MVP in 89.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, then you're right.
So I threw that rivalry in there. I was struggling to find one for the
teams,
Brewers.
like the Rockies and
Yeah,
the
that makes
Diamondbacks.
sense.
Yeah, that does make
Yeah.
sense. All right.
So I wanted to have that rivalry there. For the Reds, I had Genesis, because the Reds are the genesis of Major League Baseball.
Very fair.
That was one of my early picks. The Cardinals, I have Dr. Dre. They've been around the block. They've been around forever. No matter what they try to do, they always succeed. Famously, this is like straight out of the Astro Ball.
Compton?
Fuck off. The Astro Ball book I just finished reading. Was a traditional rapper for so long, just like the Cardinals were such a traditional team for almost the entirety of their history. And then as they switched over to, diving headfirst into analytics, Dr. Dre dove into producing, kind of changed the whole idea of what he was trying to do. So I thought that fit pretty well.
I put my cigar down and I wanted to take a puff of it, and I was holding my mic and I almost just shoved my mic in my mouth. So I'm sorry, continue.
So finally, we have the lovable and laughable Pirates, who I selected for SoundCloud mumble rappers. There are some hidden diamonds in the rough, but 9 times out of 10, it's dog shit, just like the Pirates.
Oh, it was sad.
Yeah.
Who do you like more, Jay-Z or Nas?
I like Nas.
Yeah, I think I like Nas more too. Just for Illmatic, even.
Yeah,
that
Illmatic.
album's just
honestly,
such a fucking banger.
It's the only album I listen to still. Like Jay-Z, I'll listen to like some of his hits, but Nas is still, that album is perfect.
Yeah, Jay-Z, I was always a big fan of the hits, but I don't think I actually own any of Jay-Z's actual albums. So maybe I should be listening to more Jay-Z than I do. Oh well. All right, for the Cubs, I picked Hank Williams. So, also for reference, I picked a lot of these yesterday, and I already forgot why I picked some of them. So, this might get dicey as we go forward here. If I recall, I picked Hank Williams because he's like an OG, set the scene for it all. Still like a huge influence on the scene, but no one really cares about country anymore. And Yeah, I don't think Chicago cares nearly as much about baseball as they do football these days. So, yeah, that's the Cubs for me. Hank Williams. The Pirates went with Leonard Skinner. Really good up until a plane crash.
Oh, my God. Holy shit.
Yeah, so we're going to move right past that. The Cardinals. I picked Tom Petty. Tom Petty never bad. Everyone likes Tom Petty. Tom Petty's like middle America. Cardinals, Tom Petty. Seem to flow.
I'm still not over that.
I know. I'm moving forward. The Brewers, I picked the Bee Gees. Really good as a pop band. And then the world changed into disco, and the Bee Gees were like, yeah, we can do that too. And then toured up as a disco band. And Brewers, really good as an AL team. And then the MLB was like, we need you to switch to the NL. And they're like, sure. And then they just crushed it as an NL team.
That works well.
I know, right? I was proud of that one. And then the Reds, I picked as Chuck Berry, kind of for the same reason you picked Genesis. Chuck Berry is just like one of the originals, kind of like the first big rock artist. Reds were the first big, first professional baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, they were always great. Reds were often great. They're on hard times now, much as the rock and roll industry is. But
they're on their comeback.
They should be soon. Hopefully Votto's there for it. But yeah, that's my picks for the NL Central. For the AL West, for the Astros, I picked Run DMC.
Run.
They Run DMC is like one of the original rap groups. Plus, they did a tour with the Beastie Boys, and I appreciate that. Beastie Boys is bigger though. Anyway, Astros were one of the first teams to really adopt analytics, which is very famous. We talked about it a whole bunch of times. And Run DMC was one of the first rap groups. One of the first real ones, anyway, because, Sugar Hill Gang was out there, but who cares? Yeah, I fucking know. Athletics I picked as the Beastie Boys, because they're kind of like rough and tumble, I don't know. Something about the whole attitude just kind of fit, even though it's an East Coast, West Coast thing. I have no real good relation to that, other than the Athletics just kind of came across as a Beastie Boys kind of group. The Mariners I picked as Pink Floyd. Because they're weird, and they had like a really high peak, like a crazy high peak, like nothing really before it. Of course, they're doing yard work now. Anyway, nothing really after it. You know, after what was the last album that they did? Was Animals the last one with as the original group?
Idea.
It was either that or Wish You Were Here. No, it was The Wall. Wall was the last one. Wall was 1980. I think they disbanded after that. Yeah, because they got all that beef about The Wall and writing credits. Roger Waters, you're a punk-ass bitch. Can't tune your own bass, stupid-ass motherfucker. Anyway, yeah, Mariners wasn't shit before the 90s. Mariners ain't shit after the 90s. So, yeah. The Rangers did Frank Ocean. And I picked Frank Ocean because every now and then, Frank Ocean comes out with an album, right? And it's awesome. You know, it's a good album. And
He's good at what he does.
In between, everyone's sitting around like, where's Frank Ocean? And the Rangers every now and then will have a great season and then just be bad. And everyone will go, what happened to the Rangers? And then, boom, good season.
Wow, that's a good one.
I thought so, too.
As hard as it was to come up with something for the Rangers, spoiler alert, I didn't because fuck the Rangers. I don't know anything about them. That was very well done.
Yeah, that was a This Morning pick.
Excellent.
The Angels, I picked the Yardbirds. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Yardbirds were like an old English rock band in like the late 50s that at one point had on them Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page. All at the same time. And that band fell to pieces. Like, they were never really great. They had a few songs, but like nothing you would really know unless
There's
you knew
a reason
what the
they're
Yardbirds
not
were.
as successful as they should have been.
Right, and then when they all split up, they all had, they were all super talented. They all had amazing careers.
Some of the best of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I
if
just
not
mentioned
the
three of the best guitarists to ever play the game. And so the Angels have Mike Trout, they have Albert Pujols, they have Shohei Ohtani, and they have a few other people who are, they have Andrelton Simmons. They have all these pieces who are individually great and for whatever reason cannot put together a good team. Like, cannot put together a winner of a franchise. And so to me, that was the Yardbirds.
This is another amazing pick. I don't remember what I picked for the Angels, but I know it's not nearly as good.
Well, we're going to find out now, buddy.
All right, so you mentioned the Sugar Hill Gang.
I did.
That's who I picked for the Athletics.
We picked 2 very different rap groups for the Athletics.
Yes, we did.
Why'd you pick Sugar Hill Gang?
They were the beginning of rap, as we just went over.
Now,
and
what you hear is not a test.
I'd like to sing along.
To the beat. Continue.
God, can we just have the last 14 minutes of this episode just be
Be
us
Rapper's
singing
Delight?
that? Yeah. But the Athletics really kicked off everything that was the analytics. Fucking what is this? It's distracting. Kicked off the analytics movement, so I thought that was fitting that they would be the starting of the rap generation. The Astros, kind of the second team, or the third team really, to really take over analytics by storm and showed super success with it. So I went with Kanye West, kind of the first of the, I want to say the third generation of rappers, and he just took it by storm and just started his dynasty. That's what the Astros are doing currently. There's plenty of great Houston rappers that I could have gone with. Well, all right, there's plenty of pretty okay Houston rappers that I could have gone with, but I felt Kanye
The only
fit better.
Texas rap group I know is Ghetto Boys.
I was thinking about doing the Ghetto Boys, but they didn't have the success that the Astros.
No, they were
have
pretty.
had.
They were pretty indie for most of their time. Plus, their
I
shit's
love
weird as hell.
I love the Ghetto Boys. 6 Feet Under, fantastic song. So for the Mariners, I had Outkast.
Mariners.
Mariners, I don't care. Man, I
Outkast?
just lost my train of thought. Outkast, yeah. They were a thing in the late 90s. They really had their one-hit wonder in the early 2000s, and they've kind of disappeared since. Kind of like how I feel the Mariners went. They hit their peak, and I don't think they're ever going to get back to that.
You know, it's a real shame that Hey Ya is the song that the Outkast got famous for, because their discography sounds so different than that.
Yeah.
And it's way better.
Yeah.
It's like how everyone knows Amy Winehouse from Rehab when that's it's like the most tonally different song from all of her other works, but that's the one everyone knows him from.
I feel like that's for a lot of people, though.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. So, like, Mariners have had great seasons, but 106 wins is, what they'll always be known for.
116.
Wow. I'm dumb.
A little bit.
A little bit. A lot of it. What else do I got? I got
Rangers
the
was
Rangers.
blank.
Nobody, because fuck the Rangers. The Angels, I went with D12 for the exact same reason. They had some great rappers in it. They had Eminem was their star, kind of like how Mike Trout is now. And they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, same vein. I won't, dive into it again, but there it is.
All right, now lay on me the NL West, and we'll
All
wrap
right.
up with yours, then head back to mine.
Dodgers, I had to go NWA. Full effect. It's one of the more fitting ones. NWA was the peak of rap, I believe, in the entire history of rap music. Kind of like
out of here.
Fuck you.
So disrespectful.
NWA is where it's at.
So disrespectful.
They are
they're a great
everything.
band, but to call that the peak of
they
rap.
are the peak of rap music.
Disrespectful.
Get the fuck out of here. So many.
Tribe is the peak of hip hop, and I
Oh,
won't even
fuck
hear.
off.
No, I won't even hear anything else about it. Tribe is the peak of hip hop.
It's the Tribe, y'all. Vibe, y'all. Inside, outside, come around. Okay.
Who that? Brown.
All right, can we just do an entire episode of us trying
Just
to
doing
rap?
scenario and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, NWA, so many fantastic rappers as a part of it, just like the Dodgers throughout their history. I thought that was the most fitting. The Giants, I went with Eminem, and this one's going to be a bit of a stretch.
Go for it. I want to hear it.
San Francisco is the whitest town in the United States. Much
That's
like
a bold claim.
Eminem is the whitest rapper. But deep and down, there's, a little toil in there. So much success, such high peaks. It comes and goes. I felt this loosely fit, and I wanted to put Eminem somewhere that wasn't the Detroit Tigers.
Fair.
I went with the Giants.
Skip Smash Mouth, because that one was mine.
Well, Padres are Smash
I
Mouth.
know.
For the Rockies, I went Migos.
Okay.
So Migos in Atlanta is the biggest celebrities around. They are everything.
Really?
Yeah, they are on fire in Atlanta. Wherever they go, they are superstars. Outside of Atlanta, not nearly as much. They're still great outside of Atlanta, but the drop-off is huge.
Who's your favorite
Just like the
Atlanta
Rockies.
hip-hop artist or group?
Childish Gambino.
Fucking forgot he was from Atlanta. Honestly,
Yeah.
for a hot
I only know it just because Atlanta,
Yeah,
the show.
I think mine's Isaiah Rashad. I love Isaiah Rashad.
Childish Gambino's where it's at. There, I probably
He's
should.
great.
I wish I used him in here. That would have been going
So
for like
it's funny.
the Rays almost.
I didn't use Tribe because
Yeah.
I didn't want to use him for anything other than the Yankees because that
And
was petty.
The Beatles are just such a better
It was
fit.
a better fit. I was
Yeah.
trying to squeeze it, but like Beatles is just a better
Yeah.
fit. Anyway,
Um,
then you didn't have anything for the Diamondbacks.
Because the Diamondbacks, I couldn't think of anything for them.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's head on back over to mine to finish it out. Okay, the Dodgers. Oh, I did the band again?
Awesome.
Oh, okay. All right, let me think about why I did this. Oh, okay, I did it for unrelated reasons. Because the Dodgers aren't, like... They were, like, nothing at the beginning. Like, they didn't do... They won a few pennants and a few World Series at the beginning, but, like, it was a lot of losing seasons in between. And the band was, like, they were there in the beginning. They were Lucinda Williams' backup band, I think. And before they went solo, and then they had, like, a huge career... And like that I see as being like the Dodgers like in like the middle of their run, like from like the 50s to the 80s. And then they kind of stopped and the Dodgers haven't won since 88. So I think that was what I went with. The Giants, I went with MF Doom.
Interesting.
My favorite British rapper. The only one I listened to.
Yeah, I don't listen to many English anything.
I didn't know he was English until
Yeah.
I was listening to him for a while.
Yeah.
So I went with MF Doom because this is mostly for the recent Giants. Because I had a hard time thinking about the entire expansive history of the Giants. But if anyone doesn't know MF Doom, one of the things he used to do when he was really, really into his alcoholism was he would sometimes he would go perform his shows, and anyone knows MF Doom wears a mask. And when he was like too smacked or like didn't feel like doing it, he would just send out a random body double wearing the mask to lip sync to all the songs. And like he justified it as being like, look, man, my persona is a supervillain. Sometimes you get the good, sometimes you get the bad, And it was like, man, you just drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, and that just to me describes the Giants of their dynasty. Like huge high, wow, that's low.
Yeah.
Win the World Series, lose your division. Like
Yeah.
just back and forth all over the place. So that was MF Doom for me.
I like it. I like that much better than Eminem is white and
San
Giants are in
Francisco is
San
white.
Francisco.
I'll do the Padres last. Rockies, I didn't win with Fish, because I don't think anyone likes Fish. I think people who like Fish just like to go get high.
I know one person who really likes fish.
I know Greg
Yeah.
likes Fish. He's been on this show before. Y'all know who Greg is.
Everyone knows Greg.
Yeah, everyone knows Greg. But like, I'm convinced people just like Fish because it's an excuse to get high, and it's an excuse to go do something for like a few hours.
Yeah,
And that seems like the Rockies to me.
that's pretty good. I mean, I think also Fish, I think you could do with like the home away splits for the Rockies too, where like I'm sure if you're high, Fish is phenomenal, and if you're sober, Fish is not. It's just not as great.
Yeah, they're just a waste of time of a
Yeah.
band. They're not worth it at all.
So I think this is super fitting for the Rockies.
The Diamondbacks, I did Allman Brothers for the same reason I did a bunch of these. In that Allman Brothers are always fine.
They're okay.
Allman Brothers are always good. No, Allman Brothers are good. Like Diamondbacks, I think have been historically decent with that one World Series win. They're not old of a franchise.
No.
They've always been fine, and
They've
they've always been a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I just feel like the Diamondbacks are just such a, they had Randy Johnson, and that was great. And then they had Paul Goldschmidt, and that was great. And everything else has just kind of been, ugh.
Yeah, and Allman Brothers had Dwayne Allman's one of the greatest guitar players of all time.
Yeah.
Like Randy Johnson was one of the greatest pitchers of all time.
Right.
And like when he died, it was like, all right, well, this is still a fun band. It's like a little bit not as much fun, but it's still a fun band, and they still play shows that are still successful because the rest of the guys are all good. And that's simply the Diamondbacks.
So
After their World Series win, they've always been fine.
fair
Been
enough.
fun.
Yeah, okay. So when I first opened up this doc that you sent me, I did see that you picked the Allman Brothers for the Diamondbacks. And I immediately thought, is this just because of, a style thing? Because, I don't know, Allman Brothers are kind of the country western style of rock, and the Diamondbacks are very much western.
Yeah, I didn't go that route.
Yeah, because that would be a bad reason, but I like yours a lot better.
It'd be like Eminem in San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, I will not defend that Eminem pick because it is not a good one, but
then we'll
it's
wrap
there.
up. We'll wrap up with the team that started this all, the Padres.
They've
never been good.
Nope.
They're a smash mouth. They've never been good. They had a big hit right there in the 90s, and for Smash Mouth maybe it was a little bit later than the 90s and like the early aughts. But right there, that big hit, they had a moment. Padres went to the World Series. Smash Mouth had All-Star.
Hey now.
And the Padres had one famous All-Star. Tony
Yes,
Gwynn.
they did.
And ever since then, they've just been a meme. And that's the Padres.
No matter what we say, this will be the greatest pick that we come up with today.
It was the OG. It was one that
It's the
started
OG.
it all.
It is so fitting and perfect. I honestly wish that Smash Mouth wasn't from the Bay Area. I
they're
wish they were
Giants
from,
fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
they tweeted?
They've been having beef with Drake recently.
Have they really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, people are having beef with Drake for no reason now.
They're like trying to be
People having beef with Drake for the same reason people started going to Chipotle. Because everyone just saw everyone else doing it and thought it would be good.
I hate Drake. I was
hate
thinking
Drake
about
too.
putting him
I
on
hate
here
Drake
for
so
like
much.
one of the shitty teams that like think they're good. That honestly might have been a good fit for the Rangers. Every now and again he'll put out a song that's really good, but for the rest of the time it's utter shit. So there you go. Rangers are Drake. Perfect.
Or any bandwagon team I think is Drake.
Yeah. Could have been somewhat... Oh, that actually would have been really good for the Blue Jays. Drake's Canadian. People are hopping on the bandwagon now that Vladdy and all the young stars are coming up in Toronto.
Goes to all the Raptors games.
Goes to all the Raptors games, even though everyone's kind of asking him not to. There you go. So Drake is the Texas Rangers and also the Toronto Blue Jays.
Let's do a few more
And
bands
also
to try
the
to assign
Toronto
teams to
Raptors.
them real quick. Like, who would you pick as like the DJ Khaled of baseball?
Oh, jeez. Who is the most hyped up baseball team that does nothing?
Well, up until this season, it was the Padres.
Yeah, that actually could have been a decent one. It probably...
Would you say this is going to sound mean and it's not meant to be, but would you say the Blue Jays with their farm system being what it is? Like Vlad came up and everyone was like, "Oh, we're going to win a bunch of games now." And it's like, "No, your team's still bad."
I wouldn't say it's too fitting because DJ Khaled's not really a good rapper. But
No, he's
Vlad
not
is
even a
very
good
much a
DJ.
good player. So,
For now.
I don't know. I don't know. DJ Khaled, I feel like he's not even deserving of being a bad baseball team because why should he get that fame?
What are some other
I think
fun
DJ
bands?
Khaled's just famous from Snapchat. And like
Not going down on his
Instagram.
wife?
Yeah, Jesus. What baseball team wouldn't go down on their wife? I feel like the Red Sox. There we go. The Red Sox definitely don't go down.
Yeah, only people who care about the Red Sox like the Red Sox. Only people who care about DJ Khaled like DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
Who would you pick? What team would you pick as being? Who else is in the new? Justin Bieber, since we brought him up recently.
Justice Bieber. Who is Justice Bieber? I feel like Toronto is just really good for all these, but we can't do that. Justin Bieber, who had a super high peak out of nowhere.
I guess the A's had a really surprise season last year.
Yeah, tried something new. Was really good.
Yo, how about
sucked for
last
a
season?
while,
Last
and
season's
then
Mariners.
started to come back when they kind of did something different.
Last season's Mariners.
That could be Justin Bieber. Yeah.
No. Last season's Mariners are Eazy-E.
Put out one great thing.
And then died of AIDS.
Yeah.
Just came crashing down.
Fucking died of AIDS.
He did.
I know, but damn, that's dark.
That's what happens.
Almost like that Leonard Skinner one.
That was a good one. I'm really proud of that. And ashamed at the same time.
Yeah. Fuck. Sorry, Roberto.
Who would you pick as who's that really obnoxious looking white dude with all the shit on his face?
There's a couple of them. There's...
You know the one I'm talking about. They got the song Rockstar.
Yeah, fuck. What's his
That
name?
fucking guy. The fucking white man
God
dreads.
damn.
Yo, if you are a white man who wears dreads, I do not respect you.
I
will make fun of you loud enough that you can hear it, but not to you. I do not respect white man dreads.
He's
It's part of the reason I hate
such a good
fish concerts.
artist, though. He's a really good singer. It's just the style that's bad. And I'm instantly thinking
Yeah,
of
all that
Tekashi
cultural
6ix9ine, but
appropriation is
he's
really
neither.
fucking bad.
He's really bad.
What's his fucking name? Because it's not Mac Miller. I know who Mac Miller is.
And he's dead.
He is dead, which is sad. Pittsburgh Jew. Both of our things right there.
Yeah, there we go. So I just left. I dropped my phone, and it was in the sun, and
Ooh,
it
that's
is
bad.
no longer usable.
This is a fun little exercise we had here.
Yeah, it was. This was really enjoyable.
Yeah, this was one of the stupidest things we've done. What would you say, stupider, this or the cheerleader episode we did?
I feel like cheerleader was a stupider concept just because we know it did nothing. But
know this doesn't
wanted
do
to
anything
pull
either.
yeah, but we wanted to try and get something from the cheerleader one. This one is for nothing, but we're just trying to have fun with it, which is why this one I think ranks higher than the cheerleaders.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, should we wrap it up?
I don't want to because this is so much fun.
Yeah, but I gotta go
we
back to
should.
work.
Yeah.
All right, if you have any comps you want to share with us, shout it out. Send them to us on via email at juicethenumbers@gmail.com or send them to us on Twitter at juicethenumbers. Twitter. Our Twitter is juicingpod. That's what it is, at juicingpod. And if you want to check out our website for whatever reason, you can do so at juicingthenumbers.wixsite.com/website. And until Thursday, y'all have a good one.
Go listen to Smash Mouth.